Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Select Board meeting for Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. The first thing we have on our session is we're going to go into executive session. The reason for the executive session is to strategize and talk about potential litigation, and doing that in an open forum would be detrimental to the town. So I'll listen to any
I'll make a motion to move into executive session.
I get a motion by Mr. Holland. I get a second by Mr. Mackey. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Again, we're going to take an individual vote. It's Mr. Holland. How do you
Aye.
vote? Mr. Mackey?
Aye.
Mr. Ryder?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We are now in executive session. Good evening and welcome back to the Tewksbury Select Board meeting for Tuesday, September 23rd. The time we have is 7:24. Just to let the public know, earlier we had an executive session and we came out of executive meeting and now we're into the regular session. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. First item on our agenda is National Grid Verizon Joint Oil Poll Petition, Andover Street, Poll 71-50. Give your name and for the record.
Yep, my name is Brian Sathler. I'm here to represent National Grid regarding this petition. We're at 1101 Turnpike in North Andover.
Okay.
I'm here about installing one JO pole on Andover Street, beginning at a point approximately 215 feet east of the center line of the intersection of Fisk Street. National Grid will install a 50-foot Class H1 midspan pole between pole 71 and pole 72. The pole will be located on town property on the south side of Andover Street. The new pole will be labeled pole 71-50. The purpose of this pole is to support new equipment that will help with the distribution in that area to make sure that, what's the word I'm looking for? Reliability for the area.
Okay. All right. I'm going to open it up to the board.
I have no questions.
Mackey?
Actually, one question. So, reviewed the packet, reviewed the DPW's response. This has to go in the sidewalk?
It would have to line up appropriately with the other poles to make sure that there's no unnecessary tension that can cause unnecessary damage or additional equipment to support the pole.
So I'm okay, I would take additional equipment to support the pole as opposed to putting a pole in the middle of a sidewalk any day.
It would include adding anchors, which would probably be more intrusive, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not in favor of this. We've been fighting for at least my tenure on this board to get poles out of the sidewalk. So the idea of adding one is not something that sits right with me, especially if there are alternatives that might allow us to put the pole somewhere else. So I understand that you might need to use additional equipment or whatever that may be, but I can't be in support of something that is going into a sidewalk when we spent years trying to get them out of sidewalks. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Mr. Ryder?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I will agree with Mr. Mackey. That is, it's adjacent to a school. And, the ability for kids to walk, ultimately able for the town to be able to maintain sidewalks in the winter by adding another pole. The right-of-way out there, I'm sure that National Grid already has a right-of-way. By putting it at back of sidewalk, you're only talking about, maybe 30 inches, 36 inches to the back of sidewalk. There already is a guy wire on the adjacent poles. My opinion, I think it should be put to the back of sidewalk, and ultimately agree with Mr. Mackey. The board has pushed to eliminate poles and sidewalks and not add them. So I think, engineering, your engineering department can come up with something that, the ability to put that to back of sidewalk. So all set. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, and I know this is your first time coming before us, but usually we have another gentleman that comes in, and he's tired of, I've seen him here for years. And no matter what he comes in with, whenever there's a new pole installation, that's the number one thing. We've been talking about this for, at least a decade of, we put new sidewalks up Shawshene, and I was very upset when we had poles in the middle of the sidewalk when we built new things, and they said they couldn't move them. And I argued and fought with them, and now the poles are moved. They said they couldn't, well, now they are. And they always seem to have, where there's a will, there's a way. You want to improve your reliability, well, we want to, improve our accessibility. And by putting a pole in the middle of a sidewalk, not only hampers, the accessibility in the area, but it also, the ability for snowplow drivers to clean those sidewalks. So if they're going down, our driver's going to get down, they're going to get to that pole, they're going to push all the snow up against that pole, and they're going to drive around the other side of the pole. So if anybody that's in a wheelchair or needs accessibility, they're going to be in the street on Andover Street. That's not acceptable to us. So any pole that comes in the town of Tewksbury, you're not going to get approval if it's going in the middle of the sidewalk. I find it hard to believe that this board would accept it. And we've made it very clear. So, we'll take a vote on it, but I know that I'm not in favor of ever installing poles in the middle of sidewalks, especially when our community is clamoring for more accessibility in this town.
Understood. Yeah, I'll definitely bring this back to the designer in question and make sure that they know that.
We're going to take a vote on it first, but I'll just make sure that, all right, do I have a motion on this?
Public hearing, Mr.
I'll make a
Chairman?
motion to close the, it's a public hearing.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's a public hearing. Do we have anybody that would like to be heard on this? It's a public hearing. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, before we close, can we just continue this to see if he can bring it back? Instead of having going through the whole process again of all the advertising?
Yep.
So my suggestion would be to continue it to our next meeting, or whenever it's determined he can move his poles.
Yeah, well, you make that in a motion.
I'm going to make that as a motion.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. So we're not closing the public hearing. You have the ability to come back, resubmit a new plan, and that'll save you some time of submitting all the documents.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Very
you.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Well, next item on our agenda is Eco Auto, 623 Main Street, a one-day entertainment license.
Good evening, members of the board.
Give you a name and, all
I'm Al Salas, representing Eco Auto, 623 Main Street.
right. Floor is yours, sir. You can just give us a description of what you'd like to do.
So we're looking for a one-day entertainment license. We're doing a celebration event to both celebrate our community and our customers. We have recently accomplished a very big milestone in our journey, and that's 1,000 customers that we've been able to serve right here out of the Tewksbury community into green vehicles. It is a pretty big deal for us and for the town, and we're just sharing as a thank you for the community. We're doing some giveaways. We have a food truck that's coming that if we get the permit, we'll be able to have, but they've already, it's a local food truck that they've already committed to doing it, planning on having some music, some giveaways, and some just fun for the families.
All right, thank you. I'm going to open it up to the board. Mr. Ryder?
Yes, no, I think it's great. It's great to see a local business thriving. I think it's a great opportunity for residents that come in, see the store, and potential to, as you stated, potential that one attendee will receive a $1,000 service voucher, as well as one attendee will receive a $1,000 gift card for the 1,000 customer. So I think it's a great opportunity, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Russo?
How's it going tonight? Just a question on, just in terms of parking for the event. Any concern about any spillover from your property at all?
We don't have any concerns of spillover at this time.
Okay. All right, that's all my questions then.
Mr. Mackey?
Thank you. First, congratulations on hitting that milestone of 1,000 customers.
Thank you.
It's been great to kind of see that journey from when you guys were in here trying to rehab that old building. So congratulations on that. I have no questions on it, and I hope your event is very successful and wish you continued success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, congratulations on your 1,000 customer. My only question is, are you going to need a detail?
Help me understand what would be the
Traffic.
We don't foresee, I mean, that would be a I would say, problem that we haven't foreseen based on the reservations that we've gotten, and we are expecting probably 100 people, which our building, it's more than capable of handling, also in parking as well. Don't foresee that, but if we have to, we would.
Okay, that's all the questions I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Well, congratulations. Just seems like the other day, we were doing the ribbon cutting with you.
Yeah.
It's, I see the hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on a weekend. So I don't foresee any like major traffic out there in that part of town. But, I'll leave it up to the board to make any recommendations. I did look at that to see,
You
if
could
this
just
was
have
going to
a
be any
cruiser
peak
go by or
hours
something.
of whatever it may be. And the only last thing is you're working with the Board of Health to get the permit for the food vendor to do
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, at this point, I'll listen to any motions or recommendations on this.
Public hearing.
Oh, it's a public hearing again, I'm sorry. It's a public, anybody would like to come forward on this matter? Seeing none.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Russo, second by Mr. Mackey. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Public hearing is closed. All right, now I'll listen to motion on this matter.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the application.
All right, making a motion, do I have a second? Somebody, did you say?
Second.
I'm sorry, Pat. A motion by Mr. Ryder, second by Mr. Holland. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Congratulations. Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. And feel free to stop by on Saturday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is residents. Do we have any residents that would like to be heard?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, seeing none, we're going to move into new business. The next item on new business is the approval of Halloween trick-or-treat hours. It's the same we've done over the last couple of years, from 6 to 8. And I'll listen to any motions on this matter.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the hours of Halloween from 6 to 8 p.m.
And we can add a date to that, the 31st.
Yes,
Yeah,
October 31st.
October 31st.
Second.
We got a motion and motion by Mr. Ryder, second by Mr. Mackey. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, and that's approved.
Thank you.
All right,
Did you do the Halloween?
Yes.
yeah. The Halloween's been passed, and, no, we canceled it.
God help you.
No, the kids would be in here picketing. No, the next item on our agenda is the October 7th special town meeting warrant.
Thank you.
I'll
Are we
turn it over to
ready
you,
for the
Mr.
warrant?
Town Manager.
Okay. So all of you should have, I have the handout. That's pretty much ready to go. I sent it to the printer. And I also, I put it up on the screen for people who are watching. I was going to go through, of course, the format is all messed up here, but. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All right, so,
Mr. Town Manager, one question. I just
Yeah.
want to ask telemedia. Jason, is this going out on telemedia so they'll be able to see this presentation? All right, thank you. Just want to make sure. Thank you.
okay. So I mean, this is my first run at special town meeting, so I'm going to go through the warrant. Basically, I'll go through the package so people who are watching at home, if they want to see this, they can probably get some good information about town meeting. So I'll go through each warrant article as well. But basically, the philosophy behind special town meeting and what we're trying to accomplish. So in the first section, part one is a summary of the proposed town meeting action and supporting policies and financial information. So basically, in the fall town meeting, we're looking to fulfill some of our financial policies and take care of certified free cash and any budget amendments that need to be done during this time period, which is significant because the tax rate has to be set in November, and so you want to tie up all your loose ends before that happens, which is why most communities do have a fall town meeting. So that being said, the first policy that we satisfy is that we set aside $600,000 through free cash for snow and ice deficits, and that doesn't really require any action at town meeting, just to omit taking it out of free cash and just leaving it there for the time being. That's the first action, and then our financial policies from there move to an obligation to fund OPEB at $650,000 of minimum appropriation, which we actually took care of in the spring through general operating budget appropriation. So there's no need to do that with free cash at this time. So that obligation is fulfilled. And then 25% of your certified free cash, remaining certified free cash, after you take out the $600,000, a minimum of 25% should be spent on capital items. And you'll see as we go through the warrant that we're spending more than that on capital items, and we're replenishing what we took out in the spring for capital items and stabilization. So when you take out that $600,000, that leaves $9.5 million in certified free cash, and 25% of that amount is $2.3 million, and we're taking out as $2.469 million, plus replenishing what we took in the spring. So that satisfies that, and then 25% of the remaining free cash would be used for stabilization fund, putting money into the stabilization fund. So if you take that, there would be an amount, a minimum amount of $1.7 million that should go into stabilization. We're actually proposing to transfer $4.5 million into stabilization, because part of that money is what we took out in the spring. That was 2.1, I think, and then we're putting an additional 2.5 into stabilization. And then we're doing something new this year, I'm hoping, which is it's the will of the board and town meeting, which would be to start a debt stabilization fund, and that would be to appropriate $2.5 million of free cash to the debt stabilization fund. Now, that would be for future debt, to try to lessen the impact of future debt. Not anything in the immediate future, because we're on track with some of the things you did as a board in the spring with the rates, and using some of the stabilization to defer the impact on rates to the debt that we're borrowing for water, which is right now the one piece that we're adding right now is water. But this debt stabilization fund will be a good tool in the future, after we put money into it for a few years, to help lessen the impact on the tax rate for oncoming debt. And then a small amount of free cash is going towards prior year funds, just under $20,000. So free cash, I'm going to just bring up this chart here, with this graph. So free cash is 10.4 million or 10.5 million, and 10.1 million, I'm sorry. And you want to make sure that the DOR recommends that your free cash not exceed 5 to 7% of your general fund budget. And so I'm taking that information from the DOR's website. You can see that we are in that range of 5 to 7%. We are currently at 6.45%, so just under 7% of our free cash is, it represents just under 7% of the general budget from the previous year. So that's good because, some people would be concerned that if we were taking 12 or 13%, then you'd be maybe overtaxing the residents. And that's not the case here. We're right in the wheelhouse we need to be in. And, it's that whole margin of plus or minus 5%. You want to make sure that you don't end up on the red side of things. So we're right where we need to be. So that $10 million free cash is not unheard of. You had $10 million 2 years ago as well. But that's a good number, and it will allow us to do a lot of things in this fall town meeting. And then retained earnings is a little bit of a different story. The way we assess what should be in retained earnings. And the best way to do that, I guess, would be to look at the graph, the bar chart that I put in here, and you can see we don't always deplete retained earnings accounts, unlike free cash. We usually wipe that out except for the $600,000. So what you want to do is compare your retained earnings to the previous year, not necessarily, we have like, for example, sewer, we have $6.2 million. That seems like a large number, but last year we had 6.1. So the change was 100,000. It wasn't 6 million. So we're just adding to that number, and it's saying, so that's stable. So sewer retained earnings is very stable. And it's a good position to be in. And then cable broadcasting is also stable. It was 2.7 last year. It's 2.9 this year. Stormwater was 1.5 and 2.1 this year. We actually we picked up more revenue than we expected, which is actually a good thing because we're worried about that number, that $75 charge, whether it would be enough. And it's holding steady for now, so that's not a bad thing. And then water was higher than last year by quite a bit, and there's a reason for that. Water was higher because we had appropriated a significant amount for debt service that was never issued in this year. It's being issued this year, so there was more money available at the end of the year, which bumped up the retained earnings. And what you'll see is that money is being, with that opportunity, is going to present us the ability to put more money towards infrastructure, water distribution infrastructure. So that's really the story behind all of our free cash. And then the next piece I want to just talk about, which is also a subject in the fall, is the levy itself. So we do have a lot of things that'll be appropriate out of free cash, but we also have a budget amendment that's going to be done. And if I was a taxpayer in Tewksbury, my first question is, well, what's that going to do to the tax bill? So the answer is that we are actually receiving more receipts from the state than we expected, to the tune of about $800,000. The charges were reduced by $200,000, these assessments, and the actual receipts were increased by $600,000. So we had about an $800,000 bump in receipts through the state. So we're looking for a budget amendment of $165,000, which I'll go over in a few minutes. But so the impact, that won't impact the levy because it will be absorbed by those increased receipts from the state. So what I put up here is that projected levy of $117 million is the same as it was in the spring. It has not changed. And the impact of the tax rate is the same as it was in the spring, and it has not changed because we want to make sure that there is no adverse impact to the tax rate and to the taxpayer. And then right below that is a breakdown of all of the things in the warrant, and that's actually a nice table that shows you the different things. But that blue circle in that table, those two numbers add up to the $117 million, which is the levy amount, which has not changed. Actually changed by $1, so I got rounding going on in there, but hopefully nobody will notice. But so it's the same. So that's good. That's the story we want to tell, is that our free cash was good and healthy, but it wasn't exorbitant. And the levy is not changing in the fall. and our action in the fall will not impact the tax rate in an adverse way. So then there are a bunch of tables that support this, all this documentation that I'm not going to go through each table. It talks about how free cash is certified, what the contributing factors to free cash were. And then on page 11 in the handout, all the balances for the different funds are available there, and also the impacts for this town meeting to each one of those funds. So then, as usual, there's a glossary of terms, and then there's I added this to the handout this year and last year. It's just it's sort of an overall table that shows every balance and every account that's being hit and which article was hitting it. So that's a good reference point. So then what I'd like to do now is go through the warrant itself, go through each article and talk about what the actions are that are being recommended to town meeting. So starting with Article 1. Article 1 is to raise and appropriate $165,000. So that's an increase to the budget, but as I said, it's being offset by state aid primarily, in fact entirely, and so there's no impact to the tax rate. So the different items that are affecting that $165,000, town managed salaries. In my department, there is a retirement coming, and there's some vacation payout, some legacy costs that have to be paid out. So that's a $12,000 cost. Professional services is a $4,800 increase to our Civics Plus contract because our social media records are now going over 6,000 records a month, and we need to have the capacity to store for 10,000, so that's a $4,800 increase to that contract. Administrative services salaries, this was an omission in the original budget, not a grade increase or anything like that, just an omission, and it was to the senior account clerk as well as the building, actually, that's a different one, sorry, this was not the omission. This is, we hired a position, before I got here, there was a position in the finance department in the accounting office, and that clerk was moved over to the HR department, but that person was hired at a higher grade because of the level of experience they had. So instead of being a senior clerk, they were hired at an administrative assistance grade. So that $12,000 reflects the increase to fund the remainder of that position for the rest of the fiscal year. Planning professional services, Sailor of Weights and Measures, when the year started, we were still working with NIMCOG. NIMCOG wanted to get out of the Sailor of Weights and Measures business, and so we teamed up with Chelmsford, and we entered a contract we had started out at $19,500, and the total contract after leaving NIMCOG is $30,000, so we had to increase that line item by $10,500. And so we are just starting out with that. We haven't even finished a year with how that'll go, but it'll be interesting to see how the revenues are impacted by this new Sailor of Weights and Measures for just the two communities. You, a few years ago, raised the rates to be equal and compatible with all of the surrounding communities. So the Sailor rates should be okay for now. Fire regular salaries, there was an unanticipated early retirement, a $46,000 payout for the retirement, plus that prompted two promotions, so that $46,000 covers the cost for those. And then the next two items in this are emergency management salaries with $5,000 stipend to appoint an emergency management director. There's a firefighter who's now a lieutenant in the fire department who will be taking on that responsibility, who's been getting the training necessary for that, and he will continue to do that. That's a sort of a hole in the town's coverage. We really don't have we didn't have emergency management services, so we're putting that back in place. And the scary part is before him, it was me, so we want to get somebody in there who who is well-versed in emergency management. There's quite a bit of training that goes along with that. There's quite a bit of collaboration that goes along with that, because a lot of these, the emergency management stuff is regional. And there's a big issue with emergency management is FEMA reimbursements, making sure that we get them. Eric, you probably know about that from the DPW. So that person usually is the one chasing down all the overtime, all the sandbags or whatever it is that would happen during a state of emergency. So that's a good position to have in place. And there's also a $15,000 increase to the operating budget for supplies that will be necessary for that position. And just examples of when that service comes in, and when you have, I know I experienced it in my previous place, in that March of 17 storm where they get 7 inches in 2 hours, and everybody in every third home was flooded out. That's when these services really come in handy, and it's good to have people on board who know how to respond to that. So that's why I think it's important to put that back in place. That's why it's in the budget amendment. Building regular salaries, that's the one I was thinking about a few minutes ago. This is an omission in the previous budget for the building commissioner and for the administrative assistant, as well as a longevity bump that was not in the original budget. So that 16,000, it's not an increase in grade, it's just an omission from the original budget. So that $16,000 covers that. DPW administrative salaries, $43,000. This covers the addition of a custodian for 43 weeks, not for 52. But that will cover the hiring a new custodian to take care of the new building and the old building. I think it's important that we have, with this new facility and how big it is, and we didn't get rid of the old facility, we still have it. So I think a custodian to take care of that and maintain that building is essential. So that's why that's in there. So that all of those things total up to $165,000 for Article 1. Article 2 is transfer from free cash.
Before you go on, I'm going to stop
Yeah.
it. I'm going to see if anybody has any questions.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions on Article 1?
I just have one
Go ahead.
question. The DPW administrative salary for the new custodian, was the school department sharing that?
The expense?
Yeah.
Not yet, but I'm planning to approach them about that. We have to figure out how to allocate their share of it.
Good answer.
Anyone else have any questions?
Just one, 43 weeks. You have that instead of 52.
Because they were funding it, they didn't start in July 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Okay. So next year, you'll see the annual salary in
Go
next
up,
year's
yeah,
budget
to
of about
52.
52,000. All right,
Yep.
thank you.
John, we'll stop after each one, just because I think it's a lot easier than jumping back and forth if everyone has all these questions.
Okay.
Okay, so, any other questions? Right.
Okay. Article 2 is a transfer of $2.4 million from free cash, and this is the capital article. I'll go through each one of the items on this list. So there is $120,000 for a Ford 350 2025 truck, and there is a trade-in associated with it. I think it's a $12,000 trade-in. So that truck is obsolete and is being replaced, and that's in the Facilities and Grounds Department. The Facilities and Grounds Department is also replacing their stripe painting machine, which is one of the most used pieces of property equipment, and it is replacing the machine that was purchased in 2014, and it's used from April to November. So that is a $21,000 purchase. Then, again, in Facilities and Grounds, some of you probably know, we replaced one air conditioning unit at Livingston this summer, and the next one, it needs to be replaced as well, and that's $20,000. So that includes removing the existing condenser and disposing of the leak oil and furnishing and installing a new carrier condenser. So that is in there as well. And then there's a Kubota tracker, which is basically a mower with a bunch of attachments. It will be used to trail around and mow the historic cemeteries, town hall, and other municipal buildings, and will help with spring and fall cleanup. That's an $18,000 purchase. Police station improvements, HVAC, funding will be used to repair the drive that runs the damper motor for the fresh air intake. And so that's a capital improvement over at the police station. And following that, there's also a walkway over there. That's a $14,000, $100 job. It's 29 years old, needs to be replaced. And that job is being hopefully done with those funds. Motorcycles, they're purchasing 2 motorcycles and trading in some old motorcycles. The 3 motorcycles they're trading in have a value of $17,800, and we're purchasing 2 vehicles. That $35,000 is what the actual cost will be after the trade-ins. Then police ATVs. There's funding to replace 3 ATVs from 2016 with 2 ATVs. And that's going to be $24,122. And there is, I believe, a trade-in, $6,000 trade-in value for the 2016 ATVs. Fire equipment, 2 treadmills, $9,300 for that. And that's at the South and North Street Fire Station. And I see a typo on my thing. And then Livingston restrooms is $200,000 appropriation for that. The cost associated with that is the sewer work that needs to be done. What that is, we don't exactly know yet, but we've been looking into that. And then it would probably be a prefab building that would be plopped on a foundation or platform, and then we'd have to get the sewer out there too. So that is something to address some of the concerns that have been brought up over the past year about restrooms down on that site. So they would ultimately be tied into, there's a tank that's associated with the restrooms that are already down there. So the new restrooms would be connected to that tank, which then would be connected to the sewer. DPW road and sidewalk improvements, because of the free cash number we had, looking to appropriate $2 million towards road and sidewalk improvements. $1 million of the funding goes to the road improvements. Road and sidewalk improvements will be used to supplement the federal grant that we recently received for the project down at Livingston. That was $850,000, so this will supplement that. And then $1 million of the funding, along with any unused balances from the Livingston Street project, will be used to advance our pavement management program beyond what is planned using Chapter 90 funds, currently budgeted at $445,000. So that will help us to do some more road work. And as you know, the roadway management plan that was done a couple of years ago indicated that we need to spend a lot more money than what we are. So this is at least a temporary stopgap to try to help invest in some of the roadway infrastructure. And that is it for the capital article, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You got any questions or anything from the board? Mr. Russo?
Mr. Kern, thank you. It's nice that we have a high enough free cash number that we can, we have some wiggle room here to invest in things for our community. Just a question, because I know from the school department perspective, they've been cutting their capital budget year after year for the last couple of years anyway, and mostly due to transportation costs, high special needs costs, et cetera, et cetera. Have you approached the superintendent about any needs that she may have from a capital improvement? Because with our aging schools, they haven't also been able to keep up with some of those capital projects that they have had on their radar for several years in some cases.
So I have talked to them about some of the issues, and I think what the feedback that I have is that they have several warrant articles that they are still working through. So I think it's one of those bandwidth kind of things that there's some projects that they're working on now that I think if they don't have the bandwidth to take on some other bigger projects. Certainly, if there's something they want to do, I think that, yeah, and there's no question that we should address those things, but I think we'll be in a better position once that study is done to prioritize what things should or shouldn't be done.
Okay. That's all.
Mr. Ryder?
No, I'm all set. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mackey?
No questions. Thank you.
Well, before I go on, I just want to thank you. Some of these things that you did, especially the air conditioning down at Livingston Street. I know we've done some improvements down there, but we get the YMCA down there, and when that went out, it was hot down there.
Yeah, it was,
So
yeah.
that's something we need. I just want to make sure that's done. And putting the money in for the bathrooms, we've been fighting for that for years. It's one of my pet peeves that we only have porta potties around the playgrounds and those areas, and there's no way that seniors should be bringing their grandchildren into porta potties if they fall in that sand or whatever it may. We need a place where people can wash their hands, use the proper facilities, and try to eliminate. And I think in the long run, it's going to actually save us, because those porta potties are very expensive. And so making this investment, maybe we phase some of those out and add real bathrooms down there. Will this actually, once we get it up and running, will we have timing locks on these things so that, I get a lot that we have bathrooms down there, but they're not open.
Yeah,
So I'd like to make sure we're making an investment so that when the people from the grounds department go home, that we can put some timing locks on there and they're actually accessible to the public.
Yeah, we will do that so that we don't have that issue, because I know that's been an issue in the past, so.
And the last thing is I want to commend you for the fitness equipment for the fire department. We need that. The fire and police department have very stressful jobs. And, you don't need them until you need them. And having the exercise equipment to make sure they stay in top condition, I think is paramount. It's a great investment, because when they show up to your house and you need them, you want to make sure somebody's in great shape. And I think it's also a stress reduction thing where they're seeing things that a normal person doesn't see in a everyday life. So having some sort of exercise and things like that and that makes them happier, makes me happier. So I appreciate that purchase. All right, go right on to the next article. Unless we didn't do it on the first one, if you'd like to go article by article, but unless somebody has something standing out, I was going to do the whole thing at the end.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, Article 3, transfer from certified free cash of $18,761 for unpaid invoices. This is pretty straightforward. I'll just list them out. There's Impact Fire Services Annual Inspection for fire suppression for Council on Aging is $860. Brock's Industry Drum Material for DPW, $14,000. CMB Tractor Parts, $1,200. And Craft Power Service Calls at Pump Station for $1,900. These are all expenses that were prior year expenses that can only be paid with funds that are not, we can't pay them FY26 dollars. So that's all I have for that one.
Anybody have any questions on that? All right, we can move on to the next article.
Okay, Article 4, transfer of $4.552639 from certified general fund free cash to stabilization fund. So this is two pieces. 2.1 million is being transferred in to replenish the money we took out of stabilization fund in the spring, which is part of the policy. And 2.4 million is satisfying the 25% requirement, which that number does exceed that. So it's a total of 4.552 going into the stabilization fund. And that's what I have for that one, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have any questions or concerns on that article? No? All right, we can move on to the next article.
Okay, and then Article 5, we're looking to establish a special purpose stabilization fund in Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, known as a debt stabilization fund for the specific purpose of funding debt service. So this is the two article, because you have to establish the fund and then we're putting money into it. So the first one establishes the fund, and then the second one would transfer $2,500 from certified free cash to the town debt stabilization fund. And then it will, like all stabilization funds, require a 2/3 vote to take money out of it. But that's what those two articles were. Does the board have any questions on the,
I just want to clarify, it's 2.5 million, not 25,000.
did I put 20?
You, in Article 6 is the 2.5 million, you, just the way you stated it, but in your earlier, in the description. So Article 6 will be,
Did I say it, or is it in the book?
it's right here. Just when you stated it's 25,000, it's actually 2.5 million.
Okay, but it's right in the book, right?
Correct,
okay,
that's correct in
yeah.
the book.
All right. So did you want me to elaborate any more on the debt stabilization stuff with, for the benefit of people at home, or?
If you'd like to, I mean, it may save some questions at town meeting.
Yeah, so, just so people don't understand what it is, I've done this before in my previous places, which is, it's a way to not only to lessen the impact of debt on the tax rate, but it also takes out a lot of the volatility of debt service on the tax rate. So debt service in general tends to just go down if you don't do anything. But then when you take something on that's new, it spikes up, and it can have impacts on the way you budget. So what a debt stabilization fund does is help you to keep that level, the debt service level in your budget impact. And that helps to reduce the impact on the tax rate over time. But it also helps to provide an expectation of a certain level of investment in the infrastructure over time as well. The rating agencies love it, and it's a great way to not lose general fund revenue to other things. When great chunks of debt come off, they sometimes get chewed up by, OPEB or health insurance, and you don't want to give that level of investment up. You want to maintain it. So that's a tool that allows you to do that. So, and it will take a few years to get it in place and then for it to have an impact. But I think it'll be a great thing for the future of the town and for the stability of.
Mr. Town Manager, to elaborate on that, we've been working hard to improve our bond rating for the community.
What's that?
We've been working very hard.
Yes.
Bond rating for the community. And if this was to build up and to stabilize it, do you think this would impact it over the long run?
I would like to think so. I kind of get upset because some of these other communities that are AAA, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that community's AAA when we carry so much reserves. But the OPEB is our biggest Achilles heel, and it's not helping right now that all those rates, those projected rates are lowered because of the economy. So, your liability just increases because, it went down a point. So that's our biggest Achilles heel is the OPEB. But the other contributing factors are, the reserves that you have. And they don't necessarily, the rating agencies, if they see debt stabilization and stabilization, they look at the whole number. So the more you have on hand, the better off you are. And Tewksbury is in great shape, and I give a lot of credit to Richard Montori for, having the discipline to do what he did over those years. Because you guys have a very strong reserve, very strong. And the other thing that he did, which has been tremendous for you, is being so aggressive about borrowing a shorter time for 10 years or 15 years instead of 20 years, because your debt, more than 50% of your debt comes off the books every 7 to 10 years. So those are good things. So.
Mr. Chair, just for clarification, I'm well aware of it, just for the residents, what OPEB is. A lot of people, so.
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
I understand the definition of OPEB, but
No, it's,
just for the residents, what OPEB is and why
So it's-
it has to do that, and what the state would like you to be in your OPEB fund.
So it's other post-employment benefits, and basically what it is primarily is the cost of health insurance for your retirees. And as time marches on, your budget for health insurance, a big chunk of it, maybe close to half of it, is funding insurance for retirees. So, all these financial institutions very concerned about the impact and the sustainability of being able to pay all these legacy costs over time. So they've required municipalities to start an OPEB fund so that you can eventually, kind of like what they do with the retirement fund, which is they want it to be fully funded so that you can fund OPEB costs through this OPEB fund. But to get there, it's going to take decades to get there. And most communities aren't even going to be able to really address it until they fully fund their retirement programs, which is around 2035. And once that happens, then the money they've been paying towards fully funding retirement will be switched over to paying towards the OPEB liability. And that will go a long way to build up that fund. In the meantime, the only things we can do to impact OPEB liability are to make these contributions that we're making, like $450,000 a year or otherwise, but those are small chunks when your overall liability is $240 million. Yep. So it's a big nut, but the good news is that that's a liability that's presented out into time for years. It's not a liability that we have to pay today. It's just a recognition that that liability is growing and growing, and municipalities have to do something about it.
No, thank you. I just want for clarification, the residents.
Okay, thank you. We are at Article 6.
7.
Oh, no, we did that one. 7. So Article 7 is a transfer of $1.49 million from water retained earnings into 3 separate areas. And as I mentioned earlier, that number was a little higher than expected because of the debt service that was not issued in that fiscal year. So we're putting $1 million towards additional funding for water infrastructure, and that'll be used to finalize design and to fund construction of a water main replacement and new water service connections on Nelson Avenue from Marshall Street to Main Street, with construction anticipated to occur during the 2026 construction season. So that's pretty exciting, I guess, when you think about there's $1 million, you know exactly what project it's going to go. If that $1 million wasn't there, that project wouldn't be happening. So that's a great thing to see that happen. Then $90,000 is being allotted for sludge residual process alternatives analysis, and I guess we're not the only community doing this, but sludge is a very expensive proposition, and we need to see if there's a better way we can handle that more efficiently so it isn't so costly. So that's for pump and variable frequency device replacements at the water raw intake. That's $400,000 due to the increase of pumps and VFDs, as well as the labor needed to perform the replacement. Additional funds is required. So I know that the DPW director each year is trying to stay after this, and there are a lot of pumps in town. So this was an opportunity to address that, and that's what he's doing. So those are the 3 items for Article 7. Any questions, Mr. Chairman?
Questions on that? We move on to the next article.
Okay, Article 8, transfer and appropriation of $400,000 from PFAS Settlement Fund. So PFAS Settlement Fund is a fund we've recently received 2 payments, one for $300, one for $500. So we have about $800,000 in that PFAS settlement account. And we're going to take a portion of that money, $400,000, and use it to assess the possibility of going to elimination of the 3rd shift at the water treatment plant, and what it would take to do that. And so we have to see what the efficiencies would be to do that. And also, in order to do that, you'd have to upgrade your SCADA system. You have to address cybersecurity, which I know Select Board Member Mackey is very concerned about. So those issues would have to be addressed in order for you to do that. But there could be some efficiencies there, and we always are trying to reinvent the way we do things. I don't see it as an issue where somebody would be laid off because there's, through attrition and through other needs, we would not have a problem with personnel, but we could become more efficient by eliminating the third shift. They've done it in other communities. You do have to be approved by the DEP to do that, but it's a process. It'll take some time, but that's what that article is supposed to address.
Do we have any questions or comments on this?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I don't mind supporting the funding for the skaters and the, from the PFA. I do have a problem with eliminating this third shift. I think the residents of this town pay enough money for water, they should have it monitored 24/7. And that's my opinion.
And just as a point of information, it would still be monitored. It would just be done remotely.
Well, you know, I believe in technology, I just don't trust technology.
I can't argue with that.
Speak up.
As somebody who is heavily involved with technology, I know we've talked about this, John. I'm happy to explore how we can gain efficiencies leveraging technology, but eliminating that shift, I still think is going to raise some challenges, and there's going to be, what we're pulling out for this assessment is going to be a drop in the bucket for what it's going to cost to actually implement the technology to be able to do this safely from a cyber perspective.
Well, I mean, we won't know that until we do the assessment, so that's what we'll have to do.
No questions? Yeah, and this is just an assessment. This isn't making any changes, so,
No, before you have to do any kind of investment, we have to come back and,
yeah.
decide whether we want to move forward with anything. So it might come back, that doesn't make sense, so,
We've done that before. We've
Yeah.
looked at things before, made
Yeah.
thoughts, and then come back and said it doesn't work.
yeah.
So, I commend you for at least doing the assessment. All
All right.
right, next article.
Article 9, transfer $22,000 from CPA open space fund balance. This was a request to upgrade the Gary Strong Memorial Baseball Field. It's the varsity field. It's the only full-size field. It hasn't been rehabilitated since 2016, and it was approved by the CPC committee. So if you have any questions on that one.
I have a question. I thought we approved $25,000 for it.
I'll have to go back and look. I thought it was
I think it was
22.
$25,000 we approved because they were at 22 and we didn't want them to come back, but they're going to turn the money back in if they don't use it, as they did on some other sections.
So let me check, and then that could always be a Scribner's error, I think, so.
Okay.
I just have one comment on that. This is the first time I've ever heard Mr. Holland want to give out more money. That's it. This is a momentous moment. Thank you, Mr. Holland.
See if you get it.
Okay, Article 10 and Article 11 are connected. They are both, one is to authorize the select board to enter into a lease agreement for the North Street Elementary School. And this is similar to what was done with the Trahan, which ironically, I think we kind of finally just reached the last chapter today with the Trahan. This would allow the town to basically do an RFP process to lease that site for a particular use. And obviously, the goal is to avoid having to tear down that school, which would be very expensive. So I think it makes some sense. Article 11 is to extend that leasing period from 30 years to 99 years, which requires a home rule petition to do so.
Any questions or concerns? Anyone?
Okay.
Clarification for those watching, because I know we got a lot of questions on this last time around. That is up to 30 years, up to 99 years.
Yeah.
It is not saying we're going to lease it, because I'm sure, like myself, a lot of you got questions about why are we leasing property for 100 years?
Yeah.
Not, it gives us the option, so we can explore all of the options in front of us. Thank you.
And that, to Mr. Mackey's point, I think that's language from the legislature, that they allow these timetables.
Right.
That when we have to request that these are what the legislation for the State House allows us to do. And that's why we put these numbers out there.
Okay. So Article 12, I spoke to the superintendent today, just before this meeting. So that is to lease property for a portion of the Heathbrook School for cellular, to a cellular carrier, a tower company. I have to sit down with them, find out if there are concerns that they have. I know that they were concerned about, they knew that there was someone going on to look at the property, but they, I think they want to know what the impact's going to be. So I don't know whether that's going to survive, if it's going to stay. It might be an article that, if it's not ready for prime time, might end up being pulled before town meeting. But you know, on the face of it, it's an area that needs coverage. Are there safety issues? What are the construction issues for the school department when and if it's done? So I'm going to try to get those questions ironed out over the next couple of days and report back to the board on that one. But this one I would probably reserve any action on until we figure out whether it's fully baked or not.
Questions to the board?
No, that's fair.
Yeah, Mr. Mackey, go ahead.
Just one comment. I was about to praise you for that one, because I think this checks two boxes. One, we have quite a few gaps in coverage in town that could be closed, as well as generating revenue. So I think if this isn't the answer, I think we should be looking actively for other options to increase cell coverage across town, as well as get these leases out so we can generate a little more.
Well, hopefully we can answer the questions that they have, but we'll see, but thank you.
And with that, you know, we're not voting on each one, but, you know, we do have a meeting right before
Right.
meeting, so maybe we can table this one, maybe you can work out the details with the superintendent of the
Right.
school. I'd like you to make sure the school committee's on board, everybody, you know, Mr. Libby's on board, the superintendent's on board,
completely
everybody,
agree.
prior to making any actions, and if you know, they get their go-ahead, then maybe we can look at it again before town meeting. If not, we can just put it on the next warrant.
Okay, yep, I completely agree. Article 13 is the amendment to the bylaw for stormwater regulatory authority. It's a general bylaw, not a zoning bylaw, and it is basically transferring the regulatory authority from the planning board to the Conservation Commission. So both planning board and conservation have taken the issue up. It's stormwater, the reason they're doing it is stormwater regulatory authority. It's trying to streamline the process because there are several public hearings and several committees. Conservation already has wetland hearings, so if you combine the stormwater wetland hearings, they're similar venues, so it might make the process a little bit easier for petitioners, and that's the impetus behind moving it from the planning board over to stormwater. And that's, and I don't know if the board has any questions on that one.
I just have one. Under seeing where the stormwater enterprise and stormwater falls under DPW, are they just going to work collaboratively?
Oh, engineering, yes, so, engineering does most of the work.
I've seen Public Works have authority over it, and then back to conservation. So it just, ultimately, as long as it's worked collaboratively.
Yeah, yes, and when I was in Billerica, we actually moved it. It became the Public Works Department that had stormwater regulatory authority. But there's an issue there because, there is no genuine public hearing process for that. We created one that seemed to work. But as you know, because you're a DPW director, what ends up happening, the engineer does most of the work. And then they recommend it out to whatever board that they're working with.
Okay.
And anything to streamline permitting, this
Yeah.
is something that, if this works for them, I'm happy to hear that.
Okay. And then the last two are petitioners' articles and their easements resulting from different permits that were received with conditions from different boards. One's a sidewalk easement and one is another drainage easement that's being abandoned. So I don't know, I don't really have any authority to comment on either one of those, but.
And just from my perspective, typically the board defers to the petitioner
Yeah,
to handle that, so
And that's it for all of the articles, Mr. Chairman.
Right. So we have all the articles. I'm going to listen to any motions on,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve, to adopt Article, recommend adoption for Article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 13.
Second.
a motion by Mr. Holland, second by Mr. Ryder. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The other articles, do I have any motions on the petitioner articles?
I'll make a motion to move that to our meeting before, well, Article 12 is the article for the tower thing, so I'll make a motion to move that to a meeting October 7th.
When is the next meeting?
October 7th?
October 7th.
It'll
October
be at
7th.
town meeting, will be
Oh, wow,
required for the
really?
meeting.
Wow.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
All right. We'll have a motion by Mr. Holland and a second by Mr. Ryder to the table, Article 12.
Article 12.
Till before town meeting. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And then we have the last articles, the petition articles.
I say, I'll make a motion to take no action on Article 14 and 15.
We get a motion by Mr. Holland, second by Mr. Mackey, to take no action on Articles 14 and 15. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Nice presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Curran.
Okay.
You almost made it, John. You almost made it.
Made it to what?
You went through the whole thing without mentioning Bill Ricker. And you
Yeah, I
All right. Here we go. Now we have a donation to Veterans Department. John, you got that in front of you?
Here it is, yeah. It's a donation for the barbecue, a $50 Market Basket gift card from Mike Paislak, and two $30 Market Basket gift cards for the raffle.
All right, now listen to motions on those donations.
I'll make a motion to approve the donations and send thank you to Mr. Pieslak.
Right. Do I have a second on that?
Second that.
Second by Mr. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Chair votes aye as well. What do we got next? Donation to Senior Center.
Okay, this is a $100 cash donation to the Senior Center from Larry Woodruff. Yes.
Yeah, and we also have a donation in the amount of $25 from Barbara Osborne in memory of Priscilla Thomas as well.
Oh, that's the
Make a
second
motion
one.
to
Oh, yeah.
accept both of these and send thank you.
I get a motion by Mr. Mackey, second by Mr. Ryder. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The last thing we have is a 104th birthday citation from Miss Rose McCormick. I received an email requesting that we put a citation together for Miss McCormick, and I'd like to have a vote on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the birthday citation for Rose McCormick. Can we also add a birthday card to that as well?
Yep. Yep.
Second.
I got a motion by Mr. Holland, second by Mr. Mackey. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Citation is going around. And then now we're into town manager.
Okay, let me just bring that up. And while I'm doing that, I'll just tell you that I attached, well, I thought I attached, but I didn't, so I gave it to you today, and I sent it to you today, the report for Whipple in Pine Street. It's a very long, involved report, so I think you should take a look at it when you get a chance, and we'll probably have to put it on the agenda after the town meeting. As roadway commissioners, you're going to want to have engineering come in and talk about, what the plans are, and what you want to do. And let me just grab the rest of the report.
I appreciate that. I know all the board members have received, calls and concerns about the accidents that have taken place up there, and the fact that we're actually working on it and making sure, whatever improvements need to be made, especially with the kids back in school, we want to make sure that happens.
Mr. Chair, there is, to Mr. Curran, there is currently a grant right now with DOT for making intersections into a four-way.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the,
Yeah, there's a grant, and that's covering, it doesn't cover infrastructure, it covers some engineering, but the town will be responsible for all associated stop signs and so
Yeah.
forth, but there is a grant currently available for that.
yeah, and so, yeah, we can talk about that as well. Hold on. Okay, it's not, my report wasn't very long this week, and most of the stuff I think we already talked about. So we talked about the warrant, school facility design briefing, that's going to be, so that RFP process is ongoing. There's a study, a briefing will be held on September 24th, which is tomorrow, for all of the people that took out plans, which there was quite a few. I think they're up to like 29 now. So, and then Tewksbury State Hospital, I didn't know, we always hear the negative things, but I know that the chief had talked to me about that the administration at Tewksbury State Hospital has implemented significant steps to improve the security. So probably want to arrange a meeting over there, a tour, to see what some of the things they've done, but it sounds like they've made some improvements over there. And I talked to you about Whipple and Pine, and then and the assistant town manager's position is out in the street. I went through, we got over 30 resumes for that position. And we're going to set up interviews with probably about 10 or so people. And I'll submit a list to you of the candidates, the final candidates that we're going to look at. But there were a lot of good candidates with a lot of interest in the position, which I think speaks well of Tewksbury. So that's good. And then this real estate summit that is going to be Thursday. I'm actually doing a panel on it. This is really, the subject is commercial real estate and what's working and what's not. I'm actually kind of interested to see what, there's some good members of the panel and there's some keynote speakers and people from the state that are coming out. It should be a really good take. It's over at Innovation, at the Innovation Center, Innovation Drive. And it's from 9 to 12. If any of you are interested, it's a long day. They have a thing in the afternoon too, but I'm going to do the one in the morning, which I think is the one that has more value. But if you'd like to go, just let me know. I can sign you up.
When is that?
Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yeah. I had put something in previous reports, but so just let me know if you want to go. Just text me and I'll text Stephanie and get you signed up. And
John,
That's it.
the ribbon cutting that we did the other day, you get something on that?
Sterling, so the cold storage facility, they did a ribbon cutting for their new facility. What is it, 30,000 square feet that they're going to add to that place? And which is good. I think it's a good reflection on, that is one of the uses that we see as growing, and they chose to come here to Tewksbury, and they didn't choose to go to the other place. So I won't mention it by name. But they were looking at it, and they came here, so that's a testament to the staff here in Tewksbury. So, yeah, and it was a great event. There were a lot of people there, and that you can tell that that's a growing industry that I think we should pay more attention to. And again, energy has a big piece of that.
And to that point, we've had a couple of developers talk to us about, you can't get anyone, that no one's, that industry's dead. But yet, we had somebody come in, spent that much money, and they're saying it's one of the biggest growing fields. And then they mentioned about other, Pfizer and Moderna and all these other people are moving up in this area, and they're going to need those services. So there's a ability for us to look at that type of, industry for our community, and the tax revenue is amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that they decided to come to Tewksbury. Very little traffic impact as far as I'm concerned, and bring some great tax revenue.
Yeah, it's good, and like you said, I think it's growing and it's going to continue to grow.
Okay. Anything else said?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions, concerns from the board? All right, next thing we have is town council invoice, August 1st to August 31st.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that is an amount of $5,567.50. As you said, from August 1st to August 31st for Feely and Brown for legal services.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve town council invoices August 1st through August 31st, 2025 for the amount of $5,567.50.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Minutes?
There's none
No
available.
minutes.
Nope.
Board member reports. Mr. Ryder?
We had an economic development meeting, committee meeting the other night, last week. We seem to be getting a quorum. We have some new members on there. So we have somebody coming in, community development's coming in at our next meeting, and we're going to continue to move forward.
Mr. Russo?
Nothing to report, but I guess I will just say maybe one thing. As I know some residents have brought concerns about this whole battery lithium site. I just think from the perspective of me, and I certainly won't speak for anybody on the board, I do think that everybody on this board is working to protect the residents and to look out for the interests of the town. And as far as I'm concerned, we're moving forward with that at the center of everything. There's still more, I think, to be determined. There's a public hearing, I think, at the state level, October 9th, which I'm sure some residents may attend. Some of the members of this board will probably attend as well. And we're going to all learn more together and hopefully try and move forward together. So that's all I'll say.
Mr. Mackey?
Mr. Chairman,
Was that-
just on that piece, just for everybody's information, the town did post that on all their social media venues, on the electronic boards, and in the clerk's office as well. I mean, we're not required to post it, but clearly we want to make sure that people are aware of the meeting, so it is posted on all those different venues.
Well, we appreciate that. The more, we want to keep this open and let all the residents know, so I appreciate that. Mr. Mackey?
Well, I will be short because 2 of my 3 bullet points were covered. We did have economic development, and we touched on the battery storage. Just to follow up on that, emails were received, text messages, phone calls received. I personally am working through getting back to you, as I'm sure my fellow board members are. There was a litany of those communications that came in recently, and a lot of copy and paste same email, so they're being addressed. The only other item I have is the Public Health Museum is having a community health fair this Saturday, September 27th, from 10 to 2. There'll be a litany of free services from screenings and services, flu shots, blood pressure screening, et cetera. So please head down and check that out. Thank you.
Mr. Holland?
Yeah, yes, I'll be brief also because Mr. Kern and Mr. Kratman stole my thunder because I just want to welcome the Sterling Corporation. And as they said, it is a nice facility, and talking to the president of the organization, they want to expand almost immediately. They want to add another 35,000 square feet, which is good economically. So again, with that being said, I want to welcome Sterling Corporation to Tewksbury. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have, for my report, we have the LRTA will be tomorrow. We have a number of items to go over, but one of the things that I'm happy to put in is that the free buses will continue to June of 2026. That means all the rides from the senior center, all the shuttles, all that is covered by a grant from the state. And so right now you can ride the LRTA for free. We're hoping a lot of people take advantage of that. And then I also wanted to recognize Chief Brian Columbus, who got recognized with the 2025 Health and Wellness Leadership Award for the Massachusetts Chiefs of Police Association. They had that posted on the website. I don't know how they got that by without the chief pulling it down, because he's very quiet, but I'm glad they got it up and recognized that. But that's all I have. Any other items across the board?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'm going to motion Mr. Holmes, second by Mr. Russo. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.